Hey sis, welcome back to the channel. Listen, today we're going to talk about the 3 A's of conflict. But I always want you to understand why this matters to you. But before I tell you that, just in case we have not virtually met, my name is Robin May, and I am committed over here to helping you elevate not just what you do, although what you do is important. I am committed to helping you elevate who you are in every area of your life, even as life is life and you can still elevate. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, will you go ahead and do that now? We have so much fresh content coming, so many different categories. I really want us to create a community where we can grow together. So we're talking about the 3 A's of conflict, but why in the world does that matter to you? As you're dealing with the drama you might be facing with your spouse, or navigating the realities of raising children. Maybe there's a challenge you're having at work. Maybe you're looking for a job. Why does this even matter to you in the greater scheme of things? Because these 3 A's of conflict are showing up. And if we're going to elevate not just what we do, but who we are, we have to look in the mirror to see how we're showing up and understand what's happening in our connections with other people. And so many times we are dealing with the surface and we're not getting to the root. And today I want to help you get to the root of what's happening with you and your man, what's happening with you and your children, what's happening with you and that family member, or even as you are a leader at your corporate job, what is happening with your colleagues or with that employee. These are the 3 A's of conflict. So I want to break them all down for you. And we're going to look at this from 2 different ways because we keep it real over here. We don't just talk about what they are doing. We look in the mirror. So we're going to talk about how these 3 A's of conflict show up from you and how it shows up from other people. Okay. So let me give you the 3 A's. I have found this over and over again that this shows up. When we're navigating conflict, we are dealing with attitude, assumptions, and accusations. You know I am a church girl, so you know I got to repeat it. We are dealing with attitude, assumption, and accusation. Do not listen to this just with a hearing ear about what they are doing. I want you to listen to this for you as well. What are you doing? How are you demonstrating these? And then we can look at them. And so let's talk about attitude. Now, this is not just necessarily the rolling your eyes, pointing your finger, snapping your fingers, pointing your finger, rolling your eyes. What was it? I can roll my eyes, stump my feet. Y'all don't know this. I'm 50. You can roll your eyes, stump your feet. This one black girl you sure can't beat. Did y'all ever say that growing up? I'm not just talking about the stereotypical attitudes we might be talking about. That can happen, but this can also be your tone, your word choice. It can be sarcasm. Oh, I feel like I just stepped on my own toes. It can be sarcasm. It can be passive aggressive behavior. It can be nonverbal things. You rolling your eyes. It could be your body language. Somebody is talking to you and you're making sure you're on your phone to make sure they know I don't care about what you're saying, or somebody is doing that to you. So the attitude can be demonstrated in so many different ways. Remember, this is what I tell my daughters. This is what I tell my daughters. You are leaving an impact. You just got to decide what impact that is. You are giving something off, even if you don't say a word. People are having an experience with you. I like to tell people all the time, don't gaslight yourself and don't gaslight other people. I have a really good friend. My friends say, stop using us as examples. But I have a really good friend, and she gets so frustrated when somebody says, oh, so you have an attitude? Because she's like, no, I don't have an attitude. But we're like, but sis, your energy is letting us know something. Your energy is communicating something. So maybe we're going to talk about this in a minute. Maybe you're not angry. Maybe you're sad. Maybe you're not frustrated. Maybe you're just overwhelmed. But it's giving off something. And so don't gaslight yourself by saying, I must be missing it. No, you're sensing something. And don't gaslight other people. Even your man says, don't gaslight your husband. He knows something is wrong and you say, nothing. Just say, I don't want to talk about it. Because you're giving off something. And so the personal responsibility I want you to take on, remember, we're looking at this through the lens of what we are giving off and what we're getting from other people. And so sis, sometimes you give attitude. Come on. Come on. I had a conversation with a couple recently, and the one partner was feeling frustrated because they felt like their spouse just wasn't willing to communicate with them. But that partner, their spouse, was saying, no, but it feels like I have to come with a dictionary, a thesaurus, a book report. It just doesn't feel like I can ever win. I got to have all my receipts. It always feels like I'm doing some type of interrogation. So that's valid feedback. It's not that they don't want to communicate. It's just what they're experiencing in the communication. And so what you want to ask is, what am I bringing into this space? What could be causing somebody to experience me a certain way? Remember, you know your intentions, but you don't know what other people are experiencing with you. And so you want to check for contempt. Sometimes you act confident, but it's really landing with contempt. And I know. You're going to say, how it lands with other people, Robin, is not my business. That's gaslighting. Because there's a little truth to that and a lot of untruth. Because it absolutely does matter how you show up. You absolutely are giving an impact. No, you can't control how somebody else is experiencing you. You're not controlling it, but you got to understand how you're contributing to it. If I come in the house and I slam my door, I can say, it's not my responsibility for how he receives that. Well, maybe not, but I have to understand that I'm contributing to how he's receiving it. And so you may be showing up in a certain way and it's landing different. And you got to be honest. If you are irritated, if you're completely irritated, but you're saying, oh, I'm just tired, it's confusing to people. Or if you're acting very arrogant, but you say, no, I'm just direct. Y'all can't handle my directness. No, sis, you're not putting any sugar on it. Now, I might put too much sugar, but you're not putting any sugar. Your directness is landing as rude. And if more than one person is experiencing that, that's worth considering. Okay, so you want to check for all of that. Now, what happens when you're getting an attitude with somebody from somebody else? You can't quite tell what's going on, but you're feeling something from that person. I want you to learn to use what we call reflective language. Let me tell you what that sounds like. You can say, it seems like something might be bothering you. Am I reading that right? Do you remember my girlfriend who gets so frustrated when somebody would say she's angry? She would feel like, don't tell me how I feel. And that really has impacted me. It has really helped me with other people. So instead of saying, are you angry? Say, it feels like something is off, or it seems like something is bothering you. Am I reading that right? Am I understanding that right? Stay curious, not confrontational. That same girlfriend, I know she's going to be sick of me. Hey girl, that same girlfriend, we literally looked up the word confront because she was like, yeah, because I'm going to confront them. And I would always say, well, sis, hold on. Confrontation has a negative connotation. If you agree with her, go look up the word confrontation. Confrontation has a negative connotation. So stay curious instead of confrontational. And then, especially if you are a leader, in corporate America, in ministry, if you're the mother, try your best. Don't match energy with energy. I know it's hard. I know, sis. I know. Try your best to not match energy with energy. When you're getting the attitude, stay curious, use reflective language. Hey, I feel like something is you seem a little bit off, or I feel like something is off. Am I missing that? Are you okay? Now listen, if they say they're okay, you are not responsible for convincing someone else to communicate. You create the space. You cannot force the intention or the interaction. So at least ask, stay curious, and try not to match energy with energy. Okay. So we just unpacked the attitudes. Let's dive into assumptions. Y'all, this conversation about assumptions, I really want you to lean in with me, because when I tell you the assumptions that we, including me, the assumptions that we make are impacting so many of our relationships. We are making general and specific assumptions, and it's impacting how you're engaging with that coworker. It's impacting how you're engaging with your children and your spouse and your mother and your sister and your bestie. And so let's talk through that. One of the things I want you to understand is that we assume the person's intention. We even assume their outcome, what they're hoping for, without any real data to support that. And some of you are saying, nah, Robin, I have the data, but what if you don't? What if there are 5 situations and out of 5 of them, 1 you're right and the other 4 you're not? And here's the thing. Don't you want other people to give you the benefit of the doubt? How about we offer that to other people? So we'll say something like, I texted her and she did not text me back. She got to be mad. What if she was just busy, sis? What if she was just busy? Maybe I'm putting myself out there because, honey, all these text messages that I have that I haven't responded to, I'm not mad. I'm just overwhelmed. That could be a t-shirt. I'm not mad. I'm just overwhelmed. Now, that might be a problem, but at least don't assume that the person is angry. Or you might say something like, he did that or she did that to me on purpose. You all, I did a post on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Robbing Me Online. And one of the things I talked about on that post was how for so many of us, we make our offense universal. We think just because it offends us, it was an intentionally offensive thing. But no, the person really may not have meant any harm. It may not be a universal offense, but you are assuming that it is. So what do? I want you to learn to ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? What is the story that I am telling myself? And what if that story is wrong? Let me tell it to you again. What story am I telling myself? And what if the story I am telling is wrong? I want you to practice offering grace. Offer grace. Just consider maybe the assumption I'm making is not accurate. And then what do you do when people make false assumptions about you? Y'all, this is my pet peeve. Somebody say, breathe, Robin. Y'all, this is my pet peeve. This triggers me so much in relationships when people make an assumption about me, especially when I have shown you over the years that that's not who I am, but either way. A lot of times people make assumptions. We make assumptions about others or they make assumptions about us that we don't communicate. But in the off chance that it is communicated, I want you to learn just to simply say, you know what? That was not my intention. Can I explain to you what I meant? Girl, write that down. One of my secret gifts is I come up with scripts for people to say, so that's your script. Write that down. That is not what I meant. It is okay for me to explain it to you. And once you explain it, you cannot control the rest. You have to release. You got to, somebody say, release, Robin. I'm talking to myself. You got to release them to think whatever they want to think. But at least if they give you an opportunity, share with them what your intent was. And you can even invite conversation. Help me understand how you came to that conclusion, because I really don't want you to have that experience. You can invite conversation. All right, so we've talked about attitudes, we've talked about assumptions. Now let's deal with this biggie. Again, we're talking about the 3 A's of conflict: attitude, assumptions, and accusations. Why in the world does this matter to you as you're navigating all the things that are on your plate, all the things that are heavy for you in this season? Is because if you can have healthier relationships, it can help lift some of the weight of your life. It can help you and your spouse communicate better. It can help you know how to communicate to that employee at work. So I want to help you elevate in this way so that you can get some wiggle room in some of your relationships. Let's talk about accusations. Often the reality of an unchecked attitude or even the assumptions we're making is because of some accusation that we've made. Accusations show up like this, as all or nothing statements, like verbal jabs: you always, you never. We make those type of accusations. Or we make accusations about somebody, they don't care anything about me. They always take me for granted. That's an accusation that you may not have even shared with them. Or it might be a passive aggressive comment. Again, maybe if you cared, you would have done something different. That's an accusation. You start to eat away at the character of somebody. You're taking little jabs, eating away at who they are, not necessarily what they did, but who they are, which is a greater offense. And so what I want you to learn to do is ask yourself, am I clearly articulating what I need, or am I casting blame? Am I doing just what Robin said, eating away at who they are? You are selfish. I try not to use those words with my children. You're so selfish. I try to say that was selfish, because you don't want to make an accusation against the person's character. right? You want to address the behavior possibly, but not make an accusation against their character. So instead of saying something like, you don't ever listen to me, you can say, you know what, I really want you to hear me in this moment, or I'm not sure if you're hearing me. You see how that sounds? You never hear me versus I'm not sure if you're hearing me right now. That's giving some wiggle room, and you're not accusing them of something. So then that's how you protect against accusations. But how do you protect against accusations toward you? I don't want you to get in a defensive state. I don't want you to feel like you always have to defend, but you can clarify. So here's what that means. You know what? I understand that that's what you heard me say, but can I explain to you what I really wanted you to hear? Or can I communicate this to you in a way that you can hear it? Or this is what I said. Tell me how that landed with you. Invite dialogue. You're not here to defend. You just want to invite dialogue. Now, you may have to set boundaries because it's not okay for someone to constantly make accusations against you and not give you room to explain further. And so you can even say that, listen, I'm open to us communicating about this, but I am not okay with you making those level of accusations. So can we have the conversation and really understand one another? It is okay for you to set boundaries, okay? Okay, so we've talked about the 3 A's: attitudes, assumptions, and accusations. But let's talk a little bit about how to handle it with people who are not self-aware. People are often surprised when they ask me what's the key to a healthy relationship, platonic, romantic, or otherwise. And I always say self-awareness. It is really hard being in intimate relationship with anybody or connected relationship when they're unaware of their stuff, right? And it's often because they don't know how they come off, they have not practiced intentional self-reflection, or they have a habit of deflecting blame. So one, they don't even know how they come off. They have not practiced intentional self-reflection, or they are consistent with deflecting blame. So what do you do in those cases? We are almost done, y'all. We are almost done. What do you do with that person? Whether it's your spouse, whether it's your child, whether it's your mama, whether it's your best friend, it's your coworker, what do you do? Remember I said earlier, I don't want you to feel like you're in this place of having to defend yourself, but you want to seek understanding. And so say that. I really want us to understand one another. Is there something I can do differently so that I can understand you better? See how that worked? Write that down. I want you to model what self-awareness looks like. You know what? I'm going to own that. I'm going to really own how I responded. Let me tell you, I really got triggered. And so I don't want to talk to you like that. You're going to model self-reflection. You're going to create safe spaces for dialogue. Down the line, we're going to talk about safe spaces, but you want to create safe spaces to dialogue by saying, I don't want us to argue, but I do want us to connect. That's a way to create safe space. And then you got to know when to protect your pieces. You got to know when, you know what, this is not the best time. Can we come back to this later? Now, I am telling you how to deal with attitudes, accusations, and assumptions toward you. I told you it's often because somebody is not self-aware. They have not practiced looking in the mirror. But you got to make sure, sis, that you are looking in the mirror. You got to make sure that you're doing the work. Remember, we're elevating not just what we do, but who we are. You could possibly be the person who's unable to see themselves. And so people are walking around on eggshells because they don't know quite how to interact or how you're going to respond. And you got to look in the mirror and be able to see that. And so we often deal with attitudes, accusations, and assumptions. And I think we are all guilty of all three at some point, right? So I want you to share with me, out of the three, do you tend to deal more with having an attitude? Do you tend to deal more with making assumptions, or do you make accusations even unintentionally? Let me go ahead and put myself on the line. I think I probably deal with having an attitude and making an assumption. Well, let me take that back, because I'm so triggered by people assuming that I really work hard. I probably go too far to the other side with that. So it's probably more of the attitude, and particularly passive aggressive attitude. Now, I done put myself out there. I want you to put yourself out there. Which of those three do you tend to demonstrate more frequently? Now, I want to make sure that you are investing in yourself. I have created the Elevate Your Life in Just 30 Days. It is an audio only experience where every single day for 30 days, I give you a 5-minute message to help you reflect, help you see yourself, and to help you grow. That is an easy way. It is a one-time investment with lifetime access that you can elevate not just what you do, but who you are. You can learn more about it by going to robinmayonline.com/30 days. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you comment and let folks know we are here and that they want to be a part of this conversation. Listen, you may want to play this for your office staff and have them discuss their takeaways. Maybe you have your best friend and your friend group look at it and y'all discuss it. Let's continue to create space for us all to grow. I'll talk to you next time. Remember, over here, we're elevating not just what we do, but who we are. Y'all.